All right, I appreciate everybody coming and looking forward to this week. You know, I've talked enough about Savannah State, but really proud of our players' effort and how we approached that game as much mentally as I was physically with the weather, the elements, the delay, everything that was involved in that game. I thought our team showed a lot of maturity, and I thought we handled the situation in a very first-class manner. So I was really proud of our team. This week is a big challenge for us. We go on the road. I've said all along, you guys know it's tough to win on the road, and especially when you're going into a place where you've never been before. We don't know what it's going to look like there, what it's going to sound like. I've called coaching buddies that have played there. They say it's a loud environment, so we've got to be able to handle the noise. It looked like in the Eastern Illinois game that they played last week that Eastern Illinois had some communication issues with some snaps and everything. So we've got to make sure we handle the noise, and we'll prepare for that this week as well. But Minnesota's an excellent football team. They're coming off back-to-back bowl games. They won 8 games last year. They've got some really, really good players. They're big, as you guys would expect. Their defensive end was second in the Big Ten last year in sacks. They're very athletic. Their offense and defensive lines are big. They do a good job protecting the ball, and they're very well coached. Jerry Keel does a great job with that team. And they've improved a lot since he's been there. So this is a big challenge for us, but we're looking forward to it. And we'll go up there and hopefully we'll correct our mistakes that we made this week or that we made in the game against Savannah State and go up there and play a little bit better than what we did Saturday. So with that, I'll open it up.
Since Middle joined the FBS back in 1999. You guys have a 2-4 record against the Big Ten. Of course, the 2 wins were against the Maryland team who was playing in a different conference back then. Of course, now they just joined the Big Ten this year. Also, the last 2 times you've played Big Ten opponents, you lost by a combined 10 points, including a touchdown to Minnesota back a few years ago. Why are you guys so competitive against the Big Ten, and what do you guys need to do to continue the trend this weekend?
You know, Dave, I think we're competitive against everybody. Sure, we've had some mismatches against some schools that we've played, but I don't look at it as competitive against the Big Ten or competitive against the ACC or anything like that. We've had chances to win some games against the Big Ten guys, the SEC guys, the ACC, and, we've beaten them sometimes and we haven't to others. So, we're getting better as a program. We're getting better as a team. And, we're not in awe. We're not going to be in awe of going up there to Minnesota. We'll approach it just like we do any game. But I hope we'll go up and play better than what we did Saturday. And if we'll do that, then we'll have a chance to win this game.
I didn't get a chance to talk to you after the game on Saturday because I was on deadline. But
you were waterlogged.
But I know you were pretty impressed with Grammer's performance, only having 2 incompletions on Saturday and being real impressive in his first ever start. How impressive was that start, and also what does he need to do to continue his success this week?
Well, I thought Austin he played a nice game, David. I thought he did a good job. The number one thing, he did a good job protecting the ball. I thought our receivers and our offensive line and our backs really had a lot to do with his performance also. And you look at it, I think probably his longest passing play was a little flare route to Jordan Parker. Marcus Henry, Devin Clark made some nice catches on deep balls. Marcus had a nice run after catch on a crossing route. Our offensive line did a really good job in protecting him. So he wasn't ever really challenged in the pocket. He was a couple times, and he escaped and did some good things and avoided, avoided sacks. So the thing is, you just, Austin, the quarterback, the receiver, the running back, the offensive line, you get better every game. That's your goal, is to try to improve. And whether you're, Marcus Henry, a senior, who had a nice game, he's got to get better this week. He's got to come out and have a mindset that he's going to improve and get better, no different than anybody else on our football team, and that's what Austin has to do. He made some mistakes. He didn't play a flawless game, so he's got some areas that he can improve, and that's one game, and we've got to continue to compete. We've got to continue to strive to improve in all areas of our game and all areas of our play.
Coach, kind of on that note, a lot of the pass plays, like you said, the big gains were shorter passes that guys did something with. Is there a responsibility with the different playmakers that you have that Austin shouldn't have to throw it 40 yards down the field, that some of the big gains should be short and after the catch type things?
Well, I don't think you can say should be. You hope they are. But we hit 3 deep balls. Austin hit a deep ball to Devin down our sideline, hit a deep ball to Marcus going the other way, and then Brent hit one to Demetrius. So we had 3 deep ball completions. Then Marcus had a run after catch. Jordan Parker had a nice run after catch. So it goes, with our skill level. I think our guys, our skill, our receivers, our running backs have got the skill to make things happen after a catch. And, so in the running game, same thing, you talk about yards after contact. In the passing game, you talk yards after catch. So I think our guys are athletic. They've played, and you hope that they'll be able to break a tackle. Now, they're not going to do it, on every catch, but that's what you strive for. You strive to, you run your route at the proper depth, and hopefully you're athletic enough that you can make somebody miss and turn it into a bigger gain.
I think you had 3 turnovers that you guys committed. At least 2 of those are what you'd call maybe unforced, the muffed punt, and then the one off the receiver's chest that ended up being intercepted. Is that the fact that 2 of those are just mistakes by your guys and not forced, not stripped or anything, does that make you feel better or worse about the turnover?
I was really, and I told our team yesterday, I was really, I had a sour taste in my stomach after the game. You win 61-7, but you had a sour taste in your mouth because I think all 3 of those turnovers were a result of us. It had nothing to do with Savannah State. The first one, we made a poor decision on trying to catch the punt. It's not a very good punt on their part. We have to run up to try to get it. We're right on the sideline. It's at midfield. Let it go. If it does take a bounce in favor of them, you're still going to get the ball in good field position. So I thought that was a poor decision on our part. Then the fumble that we got stripped out of it was just poor fundamentals. We didn't have the ball tight to our body. It got away from our body, and the guy from behind him knocked it out. And then on the last one, throw a pass, hits the guy in the chest, and he tries to run with it before he catches it. Takes his eye off of it, bounces up, and they get an interception. So those 3 things, not to take anything away from Savannah State, but I thought all 3 of those turnovers were a result of us not doing the fundamentals that we have to do to be successful.
Your kick return, punt return, I think Watley, I think Reggie was out there on kick returns, and then Singletary had the muffed punt. You went to Batiste. He obviously he broke the one. Does that mean Batiste is Ed going to be there this time, or could you still use both of them, and will Reggie still be at kick returner?
Yeah, Reggie didn't get any opportunities. Their kicker did a nice job. He only kicked off twice, but kicked them both in the end zone. So Reggie didn't have an opportunity. Reggie will still be back there. And then at punt returner, we'll evaluate that this week and see how both Ed and Jared do this week. So, but there is a chance. There's always that chance. Like I said, I believe in competition, and we're going to put the guy that gives us the best chance to be successful back there.
Pat McNeil missed because of the asthma attack. Is he out of the hospital, and is he going to play?
He's out of the hospital. He got out last night or late yesterday afternoon. There's still a question mark whether about his availability. We don't practice today, as you guys know, so we'll continue to evaluate him and his situation. So I can't make a decision on that right now.
Your defense, I guess, got some pressure. You got 2 sacks out of the game the other day. Minnesota had some trouble with that against Eastern Illinois early on, a couple of sacks. I think the quarterback got stripped once.
Snap.
Okay. Is this a game where you feel like, or you need to get pressure early on to at least establish something there?
Here's and I talked to our team, I talked to our staff back in early August. As quick as quarterbacks get the ball out of their hands now, it's hard to get sacks. Savannah State did a great job getting the ball out of their hand. Teams will play. It's hard to get there because of the type of offenses people run now. But I do believe you can make the quarterback uncomfortable. You can get around him. You can harass him. You can get him off his spot to where he becomes uncomfortable. So the sacks, just because you're not getting sacks, I thought we did a great job Saturday, our defense, of harassing their quarterback. I thought he was very uncomfortable in the pocket. And, it may not show up. You got 2 sacks, which is really good. There may be games where you don't have any sacks, but you harassed the heck out of that quarterback and made him very uncomfortable, which is the same as getting sacks, in my opinion. So, but yeah, it's going to be hard. They're awful big up front. Their tight ends 270, their fullbacks 255, 260. They've got big men up there. So, we may not be able to get as much pressure on him as we'd like, but hopefully we can get back there and make him uncomfortable and harass him.
Coach, Reggie had 9 carries, Jordan had 10, Shane with 2, Jeremiah with 4. You mentioned on Saturday night after the game that was your strongest position. Can we expect that same split moving forward, or is that more indicative of the scheme for that particular week?
No, I don't know if it'll be the distribution will be the same, but all 4 of those guys will play. And you look at that game, we lost 4 possessions on offense. 1 to the fumble punt, and then the really 5, the 1 fumble and the interception, and then the block, when we picked up the ball and ran on their fumble, quarterback fumble, and then the punt return. So there's some possessions in there that you lost, some potential offensive snaps where those guys could have gotten a little bit more. Shane Tucker's got to carry the ball more than 2 times. It's just kind of the flow of that game, the way it transpired there, especially in the second half. But all 4 of them will continue to play and be very involved in the offense.
The running back position is a position that a lot of coaches and players talk about. They need rhythm. You get some running backs get better as they get more carries. You worried about it all having 4 guys? It's a good problem to have, but maybe somebody that is not able to stay in rhythm.
Well, I agree to a certain extent with that. I think Jordan Parker is an example that he gets better as the game goes along. Reggie Watley's a home run guy. You give him the ball the first carry of the game and then the last carry of the game, and you're going to get the same result. But those guys are too good, like I said, I don't worry about them getting out of rhythm, and I think it's just going to be through the course of each game, how each game's go, how one back's running. This may be a Jordan Parker game, next week may be a Reggie Watley game, You know, just the type of defenses you play, the personnel you play against, I think, you know, has a little bit of a dictation of what you're going to do offensively and how you're going to attack that defense and who you're going to attack it with. So I don't want to sit up here and say that, you know, every one of them are going to get 10 carries a game, because there may be a game where one of them carries it 25 times and another one only gets 2 or 3 carries. But all 4 of those guys have got to play for us to be successful.
You also mentioned Saturday night after the game, Savannah State's not going to be the toughest team you play. You mentioned a couple weeks ago that you like to start with that FCS opponent to give your guys sort of a preseason. How does the mentality change now that you've got a Big Ten foe and then a couple rivalry games and, you know, right into the Coosa play after, you know, starting this week, really?
Well, we know we've got a very demanding schedule, and I said that last week about opening up with a 1AA team, especially this year because we're so young. You know, you're starting a first-year quarterback. You know, you got guys that your center, your guard, both guards. You know, you got Shannon Smith at receivers, first time he's ever played. Terry Pettis played more yesterday than he did probably all year last year. You know, Ed Baddies. You know, we had so many guys that had never played before. You know, so I thought this year, you know, it was, you know, it worked out in our favor that we were able to open up with a 1AA team. But our guys know, you know, we knew before the game. We knew our player, you can't fool players, and I'm honest with them. I tell them that, you know, we should win this game. And but we've got to play and we've got to approach it with the mentality that this is the most important game on our schedule, and our players did that, and I was proud of them for how they approached it. Minnesota, there's nothing bigger than Minnesota right now. This is the most important game. It's the only game we are talking about, only game we're thinking about. Our guys don't have a problem. They won't have a problem. Oh, you know, we got to raise it up a little bit. We raised it up a bunch out there. If you watch that game, and I don't know what you could see in the press box, but if you turn on that film, there were some violent hits out there. There's a lot of people on the ground. There's a lot of people that got knocked down. And our guys played violent. They played physical. They played tough. They played nasty. I loved the way they played. And I guarantee you, you know, it might be a little bit harder to knock these guys down because they're 300 pounds and not 270 pounds. But we'll approach this game with the same tenacity and the same mental toughness and the same physical toughness as we do any game.
Coach, when you deal with their size this week, talk in general about challenges that it causes and what opportunities there might be with that.
You know, they're a man, we're a man. And not to take Mike Gundy, you know, that man statement, but, you know, they're 330 pounds and we're going to be 280 pounds. That means we got to strain a little bit harder. We got to fight a little bit harder, a little bit tougher. But like I said, there's nobody going to be on that plane, getting off that plane that's going to be scared of them. Hey, man, this dude's 6'6", 330 pounds. Well, I got to find a way to whoop him, you know, and that's our mentality. We got to find a way, and that'll be our approach.
Hey, Coach. You guys sort of had them on the ropes in 2010. I mean, they had to rally for 14 points in the fourth quarter to get a win. At any point during this week, will you talk about the previous meeting? I know that players are completely different, but, you know, a sense of unfinished business at all, you know, anything like that to kind of rally your troops knowing that you did have them on the ropes?
No, sir. Probably won't even bring it up. I don't know how many players we got on our team that played in that game. You know, same with them. They're a lot better team than they were in 2010, and we're a lot better team than we were in 2010. So I don't ever go back. I don't ever say, hey, you know, we almost beat them or we beat them, whatever. It's two different teams, and it doesn't do any good to talk about the past. It doesn't do anything to talk about anything. Just we got to get better this week. We can't control how good Minnesota's going to play. All we can control is us. And that's our goal. Our objective this week is to get better. And like I said, we've played these guys, and I say these guys, every year we play, somebody from the Big Five conference. So we're not in all of them. We're confident in ourselves. I've got a great confidence and belief in this team, and I know our team believes in themselves too. So we just got to get better. We can't turn the ball over 3 times and have 5 false start penalties like we did last week and beat Minnesota. If we do that, close the books right now. No sense in getting on the plane and going up there because you're not going to be able to beat them by turning the ball over and having 5 offside penalties. So we got to get that corrected and get better and this week, and then go up there and hopefully play better than what we did Saturday.
Do you have enough video of, I guess, Mitch Leidner, their quarterback? Do you have enough video of him? I mean, sophomore, he played a little bit last year.
Just a little bit, and watch the first game. Got a good feel. I think we got a good feel of what they're going to do offensively. You pretty much tell the first game what they're going to do. So he's a good player. I tell you, he does a great job protecting the ball. He's a big cat. He's like all of them out there. But he does a good job running their offense. Scored 40 points, 42 points, in their first game. So. He's done a nice job.
Just talk about. Do you guys last week? You guys played. You guys played Savannah State, of course, the FCS school. This week you bump up the competition. You go from them to a Big Ten school. Do y'all just take it as just the next game on the schedule? Y'all don't really see it like a bump up in competition or anything like that?
We just look at it as, it's just another team on the schedule. Because, at the end of the day, we're just going to work on us. We're just working on, us getting better as a team. We're really not worried about our opponent. So,
Marcus, sometimes when guys go on the road, especially somewhere like a Big Ten or an SEC or an ACC, there's some players don't necessarily like that because of the crowd and the tough atmosphere, and then others prefer it because it's just something different and new. Which side are you on that?
Honestly, I like to see just the stands packed itself. Like even if it's their fans or our fans, I just like the environment. I like the loud noise. They're right to get my adrenaline going.
Sometimes teams have this mentality that they play well on the road, that they kind of like that us against the world type. Obviously, you're not going to know that yet about this team because you haven't played on the road yet. Are you curious at all to see how this team reacts in that atmosphere?
No, I'm not, because I know that we're going to go with the right mentality, to go down and try our best and just be the best that we can be when we play Saturday. You
played with Logan, and y'all had success last year. With Austin now as the starter, did you anything that you saw in the first game that said, this guy can do it, I buy into him, anything like that?
Yeah, Grandma had a great game. He did good. 8 throws, and, he ran the offense like he's supposed to be in, and I just feel like, yeah, like we're gonna be pretty good this year.
The offense has changed a little bit. I know it's still similar to last year, but with the new quarterback and there's some different wrinkles to it this year. Did you feel like you showed everything that you wanted to show in the new offense? That you guys have some confidence in the changes?
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in the offense. We have more to offer, but yeah, I feel like we played pretty good this past Saturday.
Some of what I had asked Coach about, there were some deep passes, but there were some others. You had one of them, I know, that where it was mid-range passes that you guys took and made something out of it. Is there a sense with this receiving core that you guys need to do that you need to help out your quarterback some, the type of players that can get yards after the catch?
In our mind as a receiver core, I feel like in our mentality, when we catch the ball, our goal is to score every time we catch it, no matter if it's to help the quarterback out or whatever. It's just a mentality that the receiver core have as a whole. We all feel like if we catch the ball, that, like the yak yards, it's just a part of it. We're trying to score.
Do you feel like you're especially kind of proficient at that? I think back the bigger plays you've had the last couple of years have been short passes that you took 80 yards. Do you feel like that's just something you're good at?
Yeah. You could say that. I'm just a receiver. like I say, when you throw the ball, my goal is to catch it.
Is
But
that is that because of is it just speed? The fastest guy's going to make those type of yards after the catch plays, or is there something more to it?
I feel like it just starts with your heart. I mean, if you catch the ball and you got, if that's your goal to just catch the ball and run and do what you got to do, I feel like anybody can do it. It starts with your heart.
Marcus, 61-7. It's a good win. Coach talked about some of the mistakes you guys made. I'm going to ask you to critique yourself here. What do you have to improve on from week 1 to week 2? Even though 61-7, it's a good effort, but what do you specifically in the offense have to do to get better as you go to Minneapolis?
We need to get better on basically just being more focused, eliminate, the penalties, the false starts, the holding, just, small things like that, and just keep that edge and, just keep that main focus for this week and just keep working hard this week.
You've had your chances to play Big Ten teams. The first two, from what I read, didn't go so well, but the last two, you guys have been right there with these teams, arguably should have won those games. What would it mean to you to get that kind of feather in your cap if you can pull it off against Minnesota this time?
It'll mean a lot to the team. I mean, like I said, whoever our opponent is, it really don't matter. It's our main goal overall, whoever we play, is to win. So, I mean, if it's BYU, if it's a team from Conference USA, it really don't matter. Our whole goal is just to win, no matter who we line up in front of. I mean, yeah, it'll be really exciting, but I mean, overall, it's a win. So we're gonna be excited regardless. So that's just our whole goal, just to win.
What do you guys? And he's one of the top, and he's a dual threat quarterback. He can run and throw the ball too. One of the top ones in the Big Ten. What do you guys need to do to contain him this week?
Well, as you look at dual threat quarterbacks, I mean, like you said, they don't just sit in the pocket. I mean, they can make something happen if, the option downfield doesn't work. It starts with the D-line and their rush lanes. If they can cut down creating rush lanes and they can contain them, and then the secondary and the linebackers coming up, with secondary support. I mean, we should be able to, keep them contained.
TT, you guys, Coach was talking a second ago about you can bring pressure and not necessarily get the sack. You can do well without getting the sack. Can you guys accept that? I mean, I know so many guys want to get sacks and all that. Can you understand that concept of we did our job even though we didn't get the sack?
Well, it's something we preach here is about straining and creating pressure and getting him off his game is good. But getting that sack is straining that a little bit more. And, of course, getting the sack is what the D-line or linebacker would ultimately want to do. But if we can do as little as, create pressure just so he can throw that interception or get a batted ball, that'll be fine.
Coach had mentioned a second ago about some of the big hits in the game. You've got a lot of new linebackers in there, and y'all's mentality last year, especially you and Christian, were those big licks that we got used to seeing. Was there some point in the game where you saw Wofford or Quay Watt or Cavellis or something get a big hit or a couple hits and you kind of said these guys kind of belong to us, that they have our same mentality?
Yes, I did. I believe it was the first play of the game. Trey Wofford hit the running back or the quarterback. And I was like, he's ready. And so did Quay and so did Luckett. And they adapted very fast and pretty well.
When you go on the road, you guys always have the kind of the Friday walkthrough or whatever where you get to go see the stadium and all that. I assume you've never seen the stadium in Minneapolis, and probably nobody on this team has. Do you get all the do you get all that out of the way on Friday of looking around and seeing what everything's new, and you're adapted to it by Saturday?
Yes, because when it's kickoff time, it's tunnel vision. I mean, you got to focus on what your job specs are and what you got to do to get the job done. And I believe looking around, trying to see what's going on around you ain't going to help you win the game.
TT, how relieved are you to know that you're heading up to Minneapolis to play Minnesota in September and not something like, say, November?
The weather, I mean, like I said, you got to be focused. I know it's going to be a lot warmer now than it will be, you know, later on in the season. And plus, we're playing at 2:30, so it'll be kind of, you know, warmer. But I mean, no matter if we play them in December, I mean, we still got to go out and focus and do what we have to do to win or to, you know, make sure we come back victorious.
This is really an odd question, so I apologize in advance, but Prince is from Minneapolis. Are you a big Prince fan by any chance, the musician? And if so, would you take the opportunity, if you had it, to maybe go see First Avenue or someplace where he became famous?
Well, my mom is. She's a big fan of Prince. So if I ever got a chance, it'll be because of her.
Any more questions? I think I hit on it all. As always, guys, thank you all for coming. I want to remind you tonight, Coach's radio show at 7 o'clock at Sam's in town. I appreciate it, and we'll be back here again next Monday.